The numbers come from one source, one multidimensional source, and they stream down through the multidimensional universe down into this third dimension as a form of integrated consciousness. And us being number one is the individuality that we have, but also still being part of the whole. It gives us the capability of understanding that we ourselves have a certain level of control and understanding over our reality tunnel, but at the same time, collectively, we make up all the numbers. And so it's just like you have a radio station in your neighborhood that's broadcasting out frequencies, which are digits of numbers. And then you have a radio receiver that's able to pick up, depending on what station you're tuned to, specific digits of numbers to decode the information. If you imagine that the radio signal being sent out is spirit, and then now take that and convert it into the universal consciousness as being a transmission, each one of our avatar bodies has a capability of picking up a specific numeric frequency from the main source. And that frequency that we pick up comes from one source. It's one consciousness, but I'm 0.1, you're 0.2, somebody else is 0.3, 0.4, 0.5. And so we animate this avatar body based on that numerical system that's being streamed out from a higher dimension.
So would this explain why people seem to be attracted to or notice a certain number pattern on a frequent basis because they're tuned to that frequency?
Well, that has some to do with it, but also the fact that we are living in a mathematical universe. Mathematics literally explains everything that we see. Numbers explain everything that we see and experience, including even the dimensions of our body, the way that we break down light and everything else, all based on numerical numbers, numerical systems. And so what's beginning to happen is people are finally waking up to a certain level, and there's a reason why, which I'm going to talk about in a second, where they're starting to see a little bit beyond the veil and start to recognize some of the synchronicities that are occurring right around them. And these synchronicities have been happening for millennia, but up until, really now, as we went through a dark age and come back up now into the light, we're now starting to recognize and realize that we're living in a numerical light matrix. And that's what we're really living in. It's a light matrix based on mathematics. And there's a lot of synchronicities where you see these digits of numbers and you can catch them so randomly, even in different time zones, even on your microwave oven. Yeah. It can be a game on TV. I've caught them on basketball games where they blow the whistle and the clock for the game, which has nothing to do with a time clock, just the amount of time left on the clock for shooting the basketball is a 3-digit a number. Or going to the gas station and seeing your gas. Yesterday, my gas was $4.44. So these things are just showcasing that we are living in a programmed matrix, and these synchronistic numbers expose a little bit of what's going on behind the veil. And then also you have the capability of tapping into some of these synchronicities. When you see them, there should be an attention being paid to where you are, who you are, what you're doing at that moment, and what's going on around you, because it could be a message for you to pay better attention to a situation, for the ability to get more enlightenment, to save yourself from a situation that could be detrimental, or to improve someone else's life, maybe become of service to others. Opportunities usually arise somewhere around these synchronicities.
This is really getting to the core, the heart of the matter, Billy, because the people that are interested in this conversation, I think it's fair to say, want to know, what do I do with this? What do these mean? And there is no template meaning, I would imagine. And yet there's got to be some purpose. I mean, it is said that the universe can sometimes play tricks on us and just, have a little bit of a laugh in showing us these things, and there may not be any meaning inherent in seeing these things. I don't know. The jury's still out on that. But assuming there is, how would one start to tap into the significance of they're seeing a number pattern? For you, let's talk about you. I heard you talk with, and you're going to have to tell me his full name, King
Simon.
King Simon, you guys, he is awesome. I'm actually going to put a link that Billy did an interview. Actually, it's on yourforbiddenknowledge.tv, which is a fantastic repository. You need to go over there. But I will put a link. He had a great conversation with this gentleman who is a literal king of numbers. And in the conversation, I know you talked about 4 being something that's very close to you. When
Mhm.
did you notice this, and how have you been able to distill the 4 meaning in your life, if at all?
It's pretty interesting because I'm born on the 4th, you know, September the 4th, and my master number is 44, which is a super powerful number, which I didn't learn this until much later. But when I got my first numerical reading, the gentleman that was reading me, who had never met me before, knew nothing about me, and this was in the mountains in Jamaica. He didn't even have internet, so it couldn't look me up on Instagram or nothing else. But some of the things he told me, I had never told anybody. Just from my numbers based on my name, he got the number 44 out of my full name with this numerical code that they, the numerologists know how to break down. And he started telling me things about my heart. He said, when you were born, you had a hole in your heart, which is a fact. I have a heart murmur. I was born with a heart murmur. He knew about my kids and how many kids I had and the type of businesses I've had and how I'm so structured and how I work and how I'm able to multitask and run multiple corporations at the same time. And I've been very successful in how tedious I am. And he just laid it all out. So after that happened, that was years ago, I started paying a lot more attention to the 4s. Now, here's what's interesting. I used to see a lot of 222s and 333s, but once I was brought aware of the number 4, and I had awareness brought to that number yesterday, for example, like I just said a minute ago, the gas station, 444. I have videos on my Facebook where I would go to, went to Walmart in the middle of the night, random, just to pick up some candles, and they were $4.44. I mean, just crazy stuff like that. So, I mean, every single day, 2 or 3 times a day, I'm seeing 444 somewhere. And it's pretty interesting that once my attention was brought, or my awareness was brought to that number, at the synchronicity between me and that number in random places all over the world. And I've been around the world 5 times in 2022. It's everywhere and it's almost in everything. And when I see the number, 2 things happen for me. The first thing is I go, I'm still in my flow state. Because I truly do believe that the synchronicity of me seeing these numbers represents the state of mind that I'm in. And right now I'm in a super, super flow state. People who know me and have seen where I've gone just in the past 5 years from there to here, the flow state's been incredible. My accomplishments have been through the roof, and going and ongoing. And I'm just steadily moving on this incline. And so I feel like I'm still in my flow state. The second thing is I pause and then I evaluate my current situation. And a lot of the times I feel I either remember something that I forgot to do, I see an opportunity to help somebody, or I recognize a situation that if I make a decision either this way or that way, it can be good or it can be bad. So now I stop and I pause. I just don't go, oh, cool, I saw the number again, and keep on going.
Right.
I pause and take a moment for self-reflection and see what I can get out of that moment. Now, even if it's not having to do directly with the linking of the number or the synchronicity of seeing the number, I think it's great that these numbers, if you really stop and do that, if you have the time to stop and take a moment for self-reflection, I think you can actually tap into some level of enlightenment in that moment, whether it's just a number popping up and you're taking a self-reflection just on your own, or something synchronicity to it. But I'm telling you, it's amazing because I've been able to change and enhance so many things just from stopping for that moment of self-reflection and getting myself in brain-heart coherence.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to watch what's next, plus more to explore. And don't forget to subscribe to Higher Journeys.